you call the situation on the southern border a crisis.
No, but I wish they would react. I've been pushing them, my Republican colleagues, since I got in office. I think we have to make some major changes in the border. I've been pushing them. I'm prepared to make significant alterations in the border. The negotiations going on for the last 5 weeks. I'm hoping we get.
Joe Biden says there's no crisis at the border. And I actually think he's telling the truth there. For Joe Biden, it's no crisis at all. They very clearly want the border open. It's not an accident. It's not a fumble. It's not a stumble. They didn't whoopsie into opening up the border. You can tell by what they're doing against Texas right now. Question is, do we even have the power to stop them? Joining me now, Senator from the great state of Tennessee, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, look, I'll give the guy credit for once he's being extremely honest. It's not a crisis for Democrats. Things are going exactly as planned.
You're exactly right. This is their border policy, an open, porous border. People illegally coming into the country. And Jesse, what they're trying to do is find a way to make illegal entry legal. And they've done the YAP. And of course, that was their first step at trying to make illegal legal. And now they're saying, well, if you tell us that you're coming, which gives the power to the cartels. Nobody comes across that border unless they have paid the cartel to get them to that border. And of course, we know that these women, these children are physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, and drug abused as they make this journey. This is the Biden border policy. I just wish somebody would tell me why they're for this. Why can they stand there and say they are all for making illegal legal? They are all for giving people a reason to circumvent our laws. But you know what? They won't say a word because you look at these big blue cities and these big blue states and what is happening. They are losing population to red states where you have Republican governors. And yet they know that when the midterm census and then the 10-year census is done, that their numbers are going to be down. What does that mean? It means they lose congressional representation and they lose federal tax dollars that are based on population. So they are ready to do whatever to beef them up.
Senator, it's pretty revealing that they don't care about the Democrat-run strongholds. New York City is obviously the first to come to mind, but there are many New York City out there begging for money and all the other things. And the Biden administration basically told them to go pound sand because clearly an open border takes priority over even Democrat-run places. They're really out in your face about it now. It's not like they're hiding it.
Oh, they are very much in your face about it. And no, they are not hiding it. But we continue to push for legislation that is going to curb this activity at the border and is going to hold this administration to account. This is why we are pushing to be certain that we change these asylum laws, that we deal with parole, that we do what Border Patrol has asked for 30 years, and that is to put a physical barrier in place. And then where you cannot have a barrier, better technology, more agents and officers so that they can actually secure this border. That's what they're asking for. That is what they want to see done, or what we want to see done. And what does the Biden administration say? What does Mayorkas say? Oh no, there is no crisis. And as you said, to them, there isn't a crisis because this is going directly as they had planned.
Senator, speaking of the border, I'm very concerned about the national security implications because obviously controlling a nation's borders is part of being a nation. We have a bunch of people very angry with us right now, from Russia to Hamas to many others. Without operational control of the border, I'm worried about a tower coming down, a bomb going off, a water plant being attacked. I have many concerns. You have access to information I do not. Do you share these concerns?
I share those concerns, and indeed the FBI director has told us he shares those concerns. In front of our Senate Judiciary Committee, Director Wray was asked about the implications of what is happening at the border and if he was concerned about this. And he said he saw red lights flashing everywhere he looked, because when you have thousands of people coming from countries of interest, when you have hundreds of terrorists that are coming to that border, indeed this fiscal year already, 30 terrorists. And you can go back to the previous administration with President Trump, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. Biden has had more terrorists come across in 1 month than they had the entire 4 years under President Trump. So, should we be concerned? Yes. Should we be concerned about the tens of thousands of Chinese that have come across that border? Of course we should, because most of them are male. They are young males. They are not coming as a family unit. They're coming as singular entrants, illegally entering the country. But there again, this administration, even with all of this information, they keep trying to make illegal legal.
Senator, I have a 911 call from an aide to Secretary Austin. Here it is.
Can I ask, but can the ambulance not show up with lights and sirens? We're trying to remain a little subtle.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, usually when they turn into a residential neighborhood, they'll turn them off, but they're required by law to run with them with the main street.
Senator, I find this whole story to be bizarre, and honestly, I'm not very trusting of most of it. Secretary Austin's getting treatment for prostate cancer. That's a very real thing. I don't think anyone would have a problem with the secretary getting treatment for prostate cancer. And yet, they've run some bizarre cover-up operation on this whole thing from start to finish. Why?
And that is one of the perplexing questions. We wish Secretary Austin all good health and a full recovery, and we do want him to get the care that is necessary to deal with this cancer. And of course, we want him to have the best care possible. The item of concern here is if the president didn't know, the secretary's staff did not know. Indeed, you look at those items and say, why were they trying to cover this up? And why would they tell the ambulance, turn the lights off? We're trying to remain subtle. That's because they didn't want someone to know. And the Secretary of Defense, it's one thing if you don't inform Congress. It is another thing if you do not inform the Commander-in-Chief when we have kinetic activity that is taking place in some of the hot spots. Speaking of that activity, Senator, we lost 2 Navy SEALs to the deep. Yeah. It's been, 3-4 days now. Obviously, we honor them as the heroes they are. Senator, we used to have Democrats and Republicans, presidents would get up and speak when we lost our warriors overseas. Unless something's changed in the last 5 minutes, the President of the United States of America can't even be bothered to put out a statement honoring their sacrifice. This is why no one wants to serve in the military now, and why the guys who are in want out. They're tired of this crap. Well, we also have one that was injured and is in a coma, and nothing has been said. And then we have the 2 SEALs that are still termed as missing. And of course, we're really quite concerned about that, and then troubled by the lack of response from DOD and from the White House on this issue. It is appropriate for the president to speak to the nation, and it is noticed when he does not step forward and speak to the nation. Senator, thank you so much. I appreciate it.